Welcome to pattern making class. I'm your college instructor, Annette Julie, fashion designer and production pattern maker to the garment industry. And today we're going to go ahead and work on making our back yoke into a butterfly piece and our bottom bodice that goes with our yoke into a little gathering at the center back. So let's go ahead and start with our back yoke. Grab a piece of paper. Want this to be long enough to be able to fold and get that on. Yep, that works. Let's find the middle. Draw a grain line. Let's go ahead and fold that grain line. And we're going to take our pattern piece and put it right on the edge of our fold. Now, I could take this and trace it off, or I could tape it down. In another video, I've been tracing things off, so here in this video, I'll show you how we could just go ahead and tape it and make this into the pattern with the seam allowance and make it butterflied, which means having the other side at the same time. So now we can go ahead and draw our 1/2 of an inch seam allowance on our yoke seam. And then now as we go up into the armhole, we still have 1/2 inch seam allowance. And our shoulder, I'm just straightening it just to make sure that line is correct. 1/2 inch seam allowance. And then, of course, in our neckline, we never use a half. We only use 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm going to square that and bring it up. We can blend with our curve ruler. And that curved line right there represents where we closed this dart and flipped it over to our yoke seam, added a little bit of fullness for ease. You can always take that away if you don't like that extra ease. And there's our back yoke. Let's go ahead and cut it out on the double while our paper is folded. There's our neckline. And now our shoulder. A portion of our armhole. The rest of the armhole is on the bodice. This is the yoke. And now the yoke seam, which joins us to the lower bodice. We can have a notch. Right there is the center back. Now, even though this piece is double and it's butterflied, I still would go ahead and cut to self fabric. So if you look at a shirt in your closet that has a yoke, you'll see that the yoke is double. This area takes a bit of wear and tear, and so we can cut it double. The shoulder seam could also be extended towards the front. Now with the lower bodice, back, lower bodice, right? We can go ahead and take a piece of paper Let's go ahead and get the center. Our grain line. Take our back bodice, place it on the grain line, and you have a choice whether you want to trace this off or tape it down. And so for this demo, I'm choosing to tape them down. That was the back waist. Here's our back side seam. Our back yoke seam. We're looking at it upside down. And then now we're going into the armhole. Everything's taped in place. Like I said, you can choose to trace it off. Adding our seam allowance. One half inch on the yoke seam. One half inch armhole. You can make short lines, come back, connect them with the hip curve. We're adding your seam allowance. Blending the armhole, and then now we're going to extend the notches out into the armhole and extend the dart legs down into the waist. Let's go ahead and blend the waist. We've added 1/2 inch seam allowance everywhere on the lower bodice. Well, that looks good. This is Annette Julie, and we're going to stop the video now and continue in the next one where we make our inverted box plate.